Heyo guys, we made it to the end of 2021 and instead of looking backwards, let's look towards to 2022 and beyond. I had started recording a video looking back at 2021, but why get stuck in the past? It's not healthy. So don't think about sending your ex a happy New Year's text. Stop living in the past, let's live in the present and live for the future. So the PS5 and the Xbox Series X has been here for over a year now. We've been saying next gen for like that whole year, but next gen is actually now gen. Or is it? Besides an obvious gimmick that will differentiate a new console versus the last console, so far the PS5 and Series X look to be playing it safe, just being the more powerful console from the previous generations. So for this video, we're going to speculate what's to come of next-gen gaming with these consoles and also include Nintendo because they've yet to announce their next-gen console. Because how much longer can Nintendo milk the Switch because the little guy is struggling a bit right now? Because is it just going to be pretty graphics going forward? I mean, the jump is noticeable, but it isn't bust my balls, man, that's amazing. We're just not there yet, but I'm looking forward for the performance. I pick performance every time it's a choice, and it's kind of worrisome since we're at the start of the generation and there's still a choice between pretty graphics and performance. I want both, why do I have to pick already this early on? Like, what the hell's gonna happen once we get ambitious looking games? Are we gonna be capped at 30 frames per second again? I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do. I'll just enjoy the game at the performance setting. One immediate way to change gameplay is to change the way you play the game, but we're done with motion controls or anything related to motion thanks to the Wii and the Kinect. I think the only time it's gonna be okay to have motion is in VR, but more on that later. Except for Nintendo, because Nintendo's gonna find new ways to play games, and soon enough they're gonna have us with our tongues out playing on these new taste screens coming out soon. And on that topic, how about the way we feel our games? DualSense is for sure one of the best things to come out, and I hope we see better implementation of it, because I'll say it does take some time to get used to when we're playing certain games that we don't expect to feel that resistance on. But the thing I wonder about most, will Nintendo and Xbox copy the DualSense? I mean, Xbox did have the impulse trigger, basically where the triggers just vibrate, and Nintendo kind of started with HD Rumble, but that ended up being quite underwhelming because it didn't really do much, at least from what I felt. But Nintendo has never been one to copy, but to start trends, but I'm scared of what Nintendo might think of next. This looks like the generation of playing it safe, and I'll talk about that more later in the video, but please play it safe, Nintendo. Make a Switch 2 and then make a gimmick for it. But like I was saying, the DualSense is such a great controller with its feedback, the triggers, and just the size and feel of the controller is really good. And I don't want every company to copy each other, but in this instance, I think I'll be fine with it because it's such a good idea, and if everyone can do it and add a little something extra to it, it'd be great to see. What I do think is the next step in gaming is VR. But what is the state of VR with home consoles? Is that a gimmick that'll die in the 8th generation, be skipped over to this generation? Because PS4 VR wasn't pretty, but it was made very accessible. And I know I said died in the 8th generation, but you're gonna bring up that the Switch was VR capable, quote unquote, but come on, should that count? It was like, sure, the Switch can mimic VR like an iPhone can with a Carbo VR headset, but why would you do that? That thing probably looked like YouTube running at 360p in 2007, like no thanks. But as I was saying, VR was implemented well on the PS4 because unless you wanted to drop bands on a VR capable PC at the time, the PS4 was affordable by comparison and PSVR wasn't that much on top of that. And if we go with the install base, a lot of people already had a PS4, so it was the best entry to VR. But the question is, will this generation give it another chance with the added power under the hood, or will it skip it since it's not really caught on yet, or people just don't want to take the risk on it again? Phil Spencer shares no interest in VR for the Xbox, and Sony could very possibly give it another chance because they announced a VR headset, but we're not sure if it's for the PS5. Just imagine a new Astro's Playroom with the new VR headset and DualSense controller. It would be the perfect showcase to show what next-gen consoles could do with VR. And well, the Switch can't do VR because let's be real, it can't. But I could imagine Nintendo making that a feature for the Switch successor if they go that route. Nintendo's literally a child that can't sit still when it comes to planning a new console. It's either they make a banger of a console or they fumble the whole generation. Not to say that the next console will be a VR machine, but I can see a Switch 2 having that as the main feature that will be a fun gimmick, and it could be something of them giving a second try to the Virtual Boy. Nintendo really loves to live dangerously, and that falls in between being a success or just being a flop. But Nintendo's been flirting with the idea of juggling possible multiple styles of consoles to offer more fun ways to play video games, because because Nintendo is definitely a black horse when it comes to the next gimmick, but I don't think they want to put all their eggs in one basket again like they did with the Wii U. But imagine a Mario Kart, maybe Metroid, and maybe a Warrior game in VR. That would be fun from time to time. Not all the time, but you know, once in a while. And since we're on the idea of a new console, will Nintendo actually announce their next generational console in 2022? Will it be a true Switch successor and just be the Switch 2 or a Switch Pro, or will it be an entirely new idea for the console? I'm going to put my money that it's going to be a Switch successor, because why would you change the idea? Everything about the Switch is great. Everyone loves the idea of the Switch being this hybrid on the go console, and no one can do it better than Nintendo can. Seriously, the Switch during 2021 was the best selling console while next generation consoles were out. And not only that, the games were selling so well, and even third-party games sold exceptionally well on the Switch. But right now, it's not doing so well because the Switch is underpowered, and the biggest game that came out so far has been Grand Theft Auto, and that was a terrible release, much thanks to Rockstar. But a weird thought, is it too soon to even announce a new console in 2022 with such big games coming out? I mean, we got Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3, Breath of the Wild 2, and Metroid Prime 4, which most likely will be a 2023 game. There's still a lot of life left for the Switch with those titles coming out, but that's because Nintendo's the main support for the console now going forward, because I can't see a lot of third-party support with such a weak console. No, my little Switch, I don't mean weak like that. I just mean, you know, you're a little underpowered. There's new big boys out there, and they you know, they're a little bit stronger. But one thing's for sure for 2022, and we're gonna get a lot of new console rumors, not just from Nintendo, but from PlayStation and Xbox. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get PS5 Pro rumors, and I don't know what they're gonna call the new Xbox, since previously it was called the Xbox One X. What is the next console gonna be? The Xbox Series X? But my final thought will be that I think this generation will be the one to play the most safe. In this scenario, Nintendo just makes a more powerful Switch, Xbox just focuses on Game Pass, and PlayStation will just be PlayStation because it's gonna sell because it's PlayStation. This generation will be the rise of game services because PlayStation is looking into a game service, and Nintendo has a game service, but it's really shitty. And besides Nintendo, I don't see any of the other big boys trying to do any other gimmick, because I think they get the idea that it's a tired old idea of selling something, and people are just gonna, you know, get tired of it, and just, you know, it's gonna lose support in the long run. I do think that VR is the next step in gaming, but I don't think we're there yet with these consoles. I mean, Facebook just turned into Meta, and they're trying to push this whole metaverse, virtual reality living kind of thing, and I just think gamers are not really there yet with that idea, because it's not gonna be like Ready Player One. I think they're just gonna wait it out. And outside of that, I can't really think of anything else for next gen. Is there anything that I missed? Is there an idea that I just didn't go and talk about enough? Let me know in the comments what you guys think is gonna come next. I would love to hear your guys' ideas. Other than that, if you made it this far into the video, please do consider liking this video. It helps me out a lot. Please subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I hope to see you guys in 2022. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you.